is going to talk about the future of American elections, and which is the topic of a lab she's leading this afternoon. And right after that, John Maida, who's leading the Creativity Lab and is the president of RISD, will be talking about the need for more arts in STEM, which he wrote about in our book. So Kate, and then John.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So by a show of hands, how many of you voted in the last presidential election? Okay. Okay. What about a mayoral election, maybe? A few less. What about like local city council or special ballot measure? Okay, this room is unique. We're going to come back to this in a minute. But I want to try and convince you this morning of sort of two main arguments. The first is that the next wave of civic innovation is going to require civic entrepreneurs to tackle really unsexy, highly complicated, largely behind-the-scenes challenges that will not be fixed by developing an app that solves a purely informational or technical problem. Think fixing American elections. And the second argument that I want to make is that what this burgeoning sector needs is risk capital. In other words, risk-taking people and organizations who believe in the quality of a civic and public life and want to help fix some of these deeper public problems that we confront. So we figured out how to use technology to order Chinese food, to go on a date, to buy clothes, to share the experience immediately across a variety of different social platforms. And those things are fine. They drive economic activity, they save consumers time, and they seem to give a lot of people pleasure. But the digital leaders of our generation, and to be clear, that's me, that's you, that's our friends living seamless lives in some of the world's most cosmopolitan places, need to be solving harder problems. And there's actually a lot of opportunity here. So Stacey Donahue and Matt Bannock of the Omidyar Network have pointed out that the bulk of government innovation really comes down to IT spending and implementation. This year, federal level IT spending will total about $74 billion, and that's just at the federal level. Who's here in the audience from McKinsey just released a report saying that potential to create $3 to $5 trillion in 7 sectors. And we know that releasing data is just the beginning, but it's an important. Entrepreneurs, this spells sort of opportunity. And I think reinforced with the right guidance and the right resources, they have the potential to disrupt major government IT enterprise industries and to do it with tools that are cheaper, faster, and more available, and the ability to sell them into government-funded markets at state and local levels. So one organization that's taking advantage of this opportunity is TurboVote. So TurboVote has built an elections individual to get the information that they need in order to get registered to vote in every election from municipal to national elections. So I'm a user. I got a text message reminding me to go vote and an email with information about my polling place, which had recently moved, a link to maps and some directions and some information about voter identification information in New York. So turning people out to vote is actually only half the battle. As TurboVote has come to realize, all elections activities eventually require the participation of government. So what's the challenge there? Well, there are literally 8,000 different local elections administrators across the United States, all charged with overseeing different processes and regulations and forms and deadlines. And while these public innovators are working really, really hard behind the scenes, and you can actually meet some of them at the Future of Elections panel later this afternoon, they're confronting lumbering bureaucracies that are dependent on legacy technology systems. They're dealing with legislative environments that are often very hostile to voter-centric efforts. And they're seeing funding diminish for even the most basic of services. So learning from this government research that TurboVote did, they're going to be building this year on existing innovations, actually, that they discovered elections officials themselves have pioneered over the past couple of years. And they have a great group of beta testers in elections offices across the country who are going to help them iterate and refine these tools so that they can eventually be available for their peers, all 8,000 of them across the country. Here's what's interesting about this. In all my research, I have literally only found TurboVote working on this challenge in this way. They're taking a lean and agile approach to the challenge of elections, revolutionizing elections, and they will be the first to tell you how exciting it is to do that when they have literally no competition. Like TurboVote's founders, civic entrepreneurs who are tackling these really difficult challenges are reliant on just a few resources. There are 3 to 4 major philanthropic actors in the space. There are a variety of generally low-yield and time-intensive crowdfunding sites, and a couple of sort of time-bound elite fellowships to help resource their activity. And in addition, this is work that takes time to see real impact, which means that they need to build and sustain teams over longer periods of time than traditional commercial startups. And this is where risk capital comes in. Foundation support, while desperately appreciated, is simply not enough. We've learned a lot from the social impact investing space, but we haven't yet applied those learnings to the civic innovation space. We suspect that the returns may be slower to come in, but that it could be worth the wait. So as TurboVote has experienced, the new social innovation is about working with and for government, not just acting in spite of it. And as for other civic issues, perhaps the people who are going to unlock those challenges are sitting in this room today. You have the opportunity to get in while of the people, for the people, and by the people is about to take on a wholly reinvigorated meaning. The next wave of civic innovation is here, and I would encourage you to get involved. Thank you.
Hi. So I was enjoying this brochure. It's so beautifully designed, so well designed. And the cover I changed, though, because it says leaders must think more like technology.